Are we
Are we
live?
live?
We're
Hold
live.
on a
It
second.
said live. I think it said live.
Yeah, okay, so I hit the live. I usually set up my monitor here so I can see the comments.
Oh, good, 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 good.
But the comments are like, what it's like 10-second delay or five or 10-second delay.
You mean
So
for you to
one of
receive it from them, or for them for you to
no
send it
yeah
out?
for yeah because you hold on. Yeah, so I think we are it's like 10-second delay.
Okay.
So I because I'm looking at it right now. So look, here's a screen here. You see that? So here's
Oh
the
yeah, I'm
screen.
still
Yep,
eating.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When I do the because the other live streams that I run, I'm actually sometimes I'm sending it from my phone, and then
Hmm.
I'm monitoring it on a separate laptop that's actually watching it like a
Yeah,
regular member of the
yeah.
audience. And yeah,
But it's delayed, isn't it?
there's definitely a delay on that.
Oh yeah, because I think I did. I think I bet you YouTube did that intentionally.
Probably,
So
probably.
yeah. So in just in case something happens, right? Accident happens. But
But
you know
there's
what?
no way for us to stop that, or like
No.
in the old days of broadcast, we actually would broadcast with like a 7-second delay, so that the control room
Mhm.
could, let's say somebody said something, they could
Yeah.
bleep it on the fly.
Yeah.
But there's no way for us to control that here.
No.
So I don't know.
Un-
It's a little bit
Unfortunately.
weird.
Hey, so here's interesting. So yesterday I was interviewing Lucia.
Okay.
So I
We're
realized,
live, right?
oh yeah, we are live.
Okay.
Yeah, we are live here.
I just want to make sure to you
Yeah. We have, we got some few
before
people
we say
watching.
something like, "Oh, we hate James Hoffman."
No, but anyway, so and then and I realized that there's a two different community.
Oh,
Could
okay.
be more. Could be more. So our community here, my YouTube community, we are the coffee hobbyist. Okay, we
Okay.
are
Yes.
coffee hobbyists. We always looking for something better. You know,
Yes.
get the edge. And then for your crowd, I think Jay, I think you and I are about the same age. I think you might be a little younger than me. I'm not quite sure, but
I am
yeah,
now 56.
yeah. So yeah, we are same age.
Okay.
So you are born in 70, right?
No, no, I was born in 69.
Oh,
69,
69.
baby, 69.
Oh, I'm born in 70. Yeah, so you're.
Okay, okay, very good.
So I'm gonna
So I'm
be.
your senior,
No, hold on. You're born. Oh, so I'm
right?
gonna be. Hold on.
Right?
I'm gonna be 56 this year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm going to be 57 soon.
yeah. You're gonna be 57. So yeah.
So I am your
Okay.
senior.
Yes.
So you have to show me more respect, right? According to your culture, right?
Yes. You know what? If you're in Korea right now,
Uh-huh.
if somebody like a couple months older than you,
Yes.
and then you are becoming senior,
Yes, yes, I know.
I mean the
I
Korea.
watch K-pop, so I know.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. So anyway, but I mean, you and I, you are considered old school when it comes to
Very old
coffee,
school now.
but
I am now the generation of coffee people that when I started, I was like, those guys need to get out of the
yeah,
business because they
yeah,
suck.
exactly. But the funny thing is, I'm kind of like stuck in between. Okay, even though we are in old school, we are older, but I'm dealing
Oh,
with
my niece will tell you we're old.
yeah.
I'm sure your son will be like, yeah, Dad, you're old. You're old.
You know what? If I go
What's
to
up, Brandon?
Korea, yeah. I mean, if I go to Korea right now, everybody call me ajashi. Okay, ajashi means old man. Okay.
At least they're not calling you Opa.
Yeah. Oh man.
Right?
Sure, exactly. Opa. Oh, can you imagine if somebody called
Oh
me
my
Opa?
gosh, man.
Yeah, yeah. My wife is gonna kill me if she heard that.
Is she?
Anyway, so but even though we are older, but comes to for my coffee communities are more like up and coming, right? We're always looking for the edge. Okay,
Right,
the
right.
latest grinders, latest tools, and but you as you're what you come up from, you guys old school mentality of making coffee. The fact
Yes.
is, I mean, for older crowd, you don't care about this fancy tools, right? I mean, like
Well,
this
no, no,
kind
no.
of tools
I
or
don't know if I would say that. I mean, it's one of those
okay.
things. So, like, I started in coffee in
Hmm.
2002,
Yeah.
and when I started into the coffee business, I fell in with a mentor that was really kind of cutting edge at the time. Like, this is
Okay.
when all the stuff that's kind of taken as part of the scene today in
Yep.
coffee, all this quality focus and specialty coffee stuff. When I started, it was super nascent. Like, it was really, really young, and
Hmm.
my generation of friends, like, which includes James, like James and
Yeah.
I have known each other
Yeah.
for 20 years. We were all part of the same generation of coffee people that were young Turks in the
Yep.
business,
Yep.
thought we knew everything, thought we knew
Hmm.
better than the old school guys like Mike Ebert. We're like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, Mike, what
Okay.
does Mike know? But like, and so we were always involved with the cutting edge stuff at the time. And still, I think a lot of my friends still are involved with it.
Okay.
But there's something that comes, I think, with
Hmm.
time and experience in any discipline, is that you start to you learn what you learn, and I think you find the practices that work, and then you're not so enamored necessarily with a
Okay.
lot of the new gadgets that come out, right?
Yep.
Like, if you look at, I got a ton of coffee gadgets from an earlier era. I don't have a
Okay.
lot of ton of I don't have a lot of the gadgets of the modern era, because now I'm kind of like, for example, I do have sitting here
Okay.
a WDT.
Okay.
I do have one of these, right?
Okay. Yep.
I never
Got it.
used them, right? I never use them. What do I go back to? I go back to this,
Okay. Yeah.
the
Just
old
the
Dutch
regular.
barber, right? Because
Yeah.
this is, like, honestly, after being a barista and working in coffee for all this
Mm-hmm.
time, and I've just come to the point that I don't really need more than this. Right? I can still make nice coffee with just this and my finger. You ever see
Ah.
James Bond? You'd be surprised
Oh
what I
yeah.
can do with my finger.
Yeah. Okay. So
That's
for
why
you,
this is all
so
you need here.
you grind your coffee, right?
Yes.
And you just I mean little tap to make like that, right? Like so.
I'll show you, since I got it
Yeah.
set
Yeah.
up right here.
Yeah.
So let me show you.
Yeah.
This is a La Valentina. So this is my first espresso machine that I bought
Okay.
20 plus years ago in like 2002. I used this originally in a commercial setting. So
Okay.
when I first got into coffee, one of my good friends, Brian, was like really
Mhm.
into coffee, and he had one of those old Solus Maestros, super autos.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was starting out getting into it, he was like, because I had to start a retail operation right
Yep.
away. And I said to him, "Do you think that would work at a retailer?" He was like, "No, no, it would not last." I was like, "Okay." So I ended up getting this from First Line Equipment in New Jersey. This is an E61 group head, Feynman E61,
Okay.
1961 design. I'm sure your audience knows what this is, the E61, but it's basically a
Yeah.
heat exchange
Yep.
espresso machine. And so I have modified this a little bit over.
Mhm.
And when I say modified, I mean it's not the factory portafilter basket. This is a
Okay. Yeah.
BST basket,
Oh, you sure?
and this is a more modern Lamarzocco cast
Okay.
stainless and
Yep.
machine. You guys know what that is. I don't need to.
Yep.
So what I do is I'll take this, and I have a scale,
Yep.
right? Actually, this is one of the scales from my shops that we use for many, many years. These old
Sure.
Olbas
Yeah. Yeah.
C2000s, really great scale. At the time, they were like $40,
Yeah.
and so I use that a lot. But here's the thing: it's like, what I'm going to show you is how I make coffee normally. And
Mhm.
some people may be like, "Well, how come you're not weighing it?" Mainly because I've been doing it for so long, I don't necessarily need to weigh it. Now, if you watch my live stream, and you're one of the audience there, you know that I have kind of mucked it up many, many
Mm.
times, right? Because I'm not in practice anymore, right? I used to do, like, hundreds of shots a day.
Yeah.
Where now, since we don't have the retail shops, I do like
Sure.
one or two on the live stream. And so, but there's what I encourage people to do is to use a scale
Mhm.
and use the tools to develop your techniques until you get to a point of proficiency where you don't necessarily have to do that every day. So, for example, I've got this and this old school Mazur Major
That's
auto.
right. Yep.
It's 85 millimeter burrs or 83
Yep.
millimeter burrs. This is actually ex Starbucks. So I got this in 2004 as an ex Starbucks machine that had been beaten down at a Starbucks for many, many years. And in 2026, it's still running today. So it's a great buy. But of course, it is old school because it has the dosing hopper and all that. And
Oh
I know a
yeah.
lot of people don't want to have that because there is some waste affected in here. In a home environment, that's critical. In a professional environment, not a big deal because you're pounding
Yeah.
on it.
Yep.
So what I do is I just grind and
Yep. That's it right there.
yeah, just old school stuff.
Yep.
So I'll put this much coffee in, right? So there's this
Sure.
coffee, and
Yep.
as you can see, every time it's different. So you can see there's a little bit of static,
Mhm.
so there's some
Mhm.
bouldering here, and if you look here, there is some valleys. So the
Yeah.
way that I distribute is I just use the finger,
Sure.
and I like to sweep. And the way that I sweep
Yep.
depends on how this falls. So I'll sweep to get it here and then
Mhm.
fill it in. Right now, my personal belief is I like 21 grams of coffee.
Okay.
And so we've recently rediscovered that I had been putting like 24 to 26 grams because I would pound it up and I'm shoving it in and I'm like
Uh,
cranking in the grinder, right? I feel like old school, what's his name from Australia? Uh,
who is
anyway,
that?
Paul Bassett. I feel like old
Okay.
school Paul Bassett doing that kind of thing. But this is probably maybe 22 to 23 grams now.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get rid of a little bit of it.
Okay.
Right? So then we just readjust. I like
Sure.
to leave it in the a little bit of mound in the center.
Mhm.
So when I use the tamper, it compresses. Now this
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
original Ridge Barber flat.
Mm.
What we used at my shops, this is actually the one of the old shop tampers. We would use what they called their C plus or
Yeah.
C tempo because it has that chamfer here on the side and the
Mhm.
rings,
Yeah.
which is supposed to like help control the water dispersion and
Yes. Yep.
push it aside, right? So what I'll do is I'll take that, put it on top. This is all happening on the counter.
Mhm.
And I'll use my fingers on opposing sides to feel this top ridge here, the top edge
Mhm.
of the temper, and the top edge of the basket. And I'm feeling the differential between the two, but I'm also using an opposing finger to feel that differential on the other side. And I'm
Yep.
moving it around to feel the differential all the way around it. And as what I want to feel is evenness, right? We want to have level. So as let's say it's off, I'll just move it. And then finally, when that's done, come back
Just temp.
and
Yep.
then give it a temp, to a quarter twist,
Yep.
get rid of the excess, and then we're ready to go, right? So that's
Yes.
pretty much ready. And then this one, we're going to pull a shot of espresso. So I would like to have the spout, which I took off for the last
Mhm.
during the live stream. And oh, here it is. If you,
Yeah.
anyway, so flush the group head just to make sure. I like to
Yep.
flush to make sure there's no dirt, debris,
Yeah.
and
Or
to make sure
steam,
there's no
right? Yeah.
steaming. Like this one has a little bit, right? It helps to know your machine. Like in this particular case, there is a tube that comes out of the heat exchange in the boiler that runs from the boiler to the group head.
Yep.
So it's exposed in the cavity of the espresso machine. So that little bit of water is cooler than what's going to come out of the boiler, right? Because whatever's inside the boiler in that heat exchange, after it sits for a while, it equalizes to the temperature of the
Mhm.
boiler, which means it's about 240 degrees,
I know that's hot. Yeah.
right? So you kind of have to run through that if you really
Yeah.
want to get the ideal water. So see how it's kind of sputtering?
Mhm.
That's stuff that was in the boiler that it equalized. So if you push through that to about there, that should give us nice hot water even through it,
Yep.
and we can lock it in and then brew. And then one of the things I like to do is I take my time with getting the cup underneath, and I
Yep.
like to see this kind of tight stream,
Okay.
right? So I'm not timing anything. I'm now
Mhm.
using all just the coffee talking to me,
Yep.
telling me what it's doing. So I'm looking for blonding. I'm looking for this to flutter more. Let's start to flutter, like probably right about there is where I'll stop. So it flutters, and now this is a little bit of a tighter shot, as you can see, but
Mhm.
it's got nice crema,
Yeah.
and I like to have this kind of crema. And like, let's say if I was serving this, especially in a cafe environment,
Mhm.
the bubbles hate the bubbles, so we'll usually tap it. And now it's other than this drippy, which I would have a wet towel to wipe it off. Then we would serve it to our guest like that.
How come you don't like to use the bottomless?
Oh, really, the bottomless. Let me. I do have a. I
Yeah.
do have a bottomless, but
Mhm.
this is a. This is the bottomless, right?
Yeah.
This is the very first one that I made, and I basically took a whole bore saw
Mhm.
and bored a hole in one of the old Marzocco brass portfolios. Why don't I use this? Because we have this now, right? So like for example, why did we use this, right? In a commercial environment, I'm using this because if I want to brew into an Americano or latte, I want
Yes.
to brew
Yep.
directly into the
Mhm.
coffee, into the vessel we're serving in. That's to me, that's really important because I want to
Yep.
preserve the crema.
Yep.
So back in the old days when these portafilters were just screwed on, the spouts were screwed onto them, um, it was more difficult to get that because otherwise you'd have to do this whole contortion thing of trying to get the cup
Yeah.
underneath,
Mhm.
and that's just a real pain. So while this was used originally to like see the our distribution technique and all that,
Okay.
in a practical sense, we would use it not just to see our deficiencies in our distribution, but also
Mhm.
really just to make it more practical to produce coffee drinks for guests. So when La Marzocco came out with this one, now I could I could use this to pull like we did for the espresso directly into the cup, or take it off, and now that cup the larger 12-ounce cup will fit
Ah, got it. Got it.
underneath. So
Okay.
that's why I used
Got
once
it.
this came out, once Kent Bucky released this, we replaced all our portafilters with that.
Got it. See,
Yeah.
yes. I know exactly what you're talking about there. Yeah, because I have that kind of style of portafilter.
Okay.
I mean, that's more for the coffee shop than at home. That's for sure, right? You know,
Oh
because
yes, yes.
so this
Well,
company from
I mean,
this,
it could be for both. I mean, like, well, yeah, yeah, but no, I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
And here's the thing, like, for people that are and like I've said to people on my live stream, that
mhm,
what is the big difference between someone like myself or
yep,
James or anyone else that you might watch on YouTube or that's working in the coffee field is that the biggest difference between us and the enthusiast is just the amount of time in the saddle, right? Like your average barista at a fairly decent coffee shop will be pulling 100 shots a day. That's a lot of shots to pull. And
that's
when
yeah,
you're making 100 shots, you can do a lot of like experimentation and testing with your technique and see the impact of it. And then you pull a shot at, oh, okay, I could improve this. Try that in the next one and try the changes in the next one.
yeah.
But if you're the average home enthusiast who's making coffee just for yourself, how long does it take you to actually make 100 shots?
Oh gosh, 100 days, right?
Yeah, let's say if you do one a day, it's 100.
Yeah, one a
So
days,
the
two a
time for
days. Yeah,
you so the time
yeah,
for you
yeah,
to develop your technique just takes longer only because it's not what you
yeah.
don't get to do it all the time.
I mean, it's
So
just
those Mhm.
I mean, just like latte art. Okay, same thing. I've been working on latte art for I don't know how many years. So few months back, I was doing daily latte art on my Instagram. I posted
Okay.
daily. I stopped at 57 because
Okay.
I did 57 latte art, and then I realized busy coffee shops, you're gonna do that in one day.
Yes, yes,
You're gonna put 100 latte, 50 latte art in one day.
yes. And like
It
that's like people like Emily, right? Emily Bryant,
yeah,
like she worked as a barista. So yeah, her
yeah.
technique is super advanced. But here's the nice thing about someone like Emily that's really great is that because she's done it so much and paid so much attention to what she does and
Mhm.
how she does it, when it comes time to watching her videos, she's able to break it down in a way
Sure.
that people can readily absorb or at least put into practice, right? So the
Yeah.
difficult part is really to like, and I get it. It sucks because if you want to practice, like you're burning through gallons of milk, and then every
Gallons.
time you do this, you have to clean it.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sucks.
But I mean, okay, even though I mean, I saw so many latte art videos,
Okay.
it looks so easy, but you're actually doing it extremely hard.
Oh yes,
Again, I
yes.
mean, so I know people are spending hours and hours. Okay, people are watching right now. Okay, a few
Okay.
people watching. If you think about doing latte art, get better at it. Uh, it's okay to take a deep breath. You're not gonna get to here, but once you get to about here, I mean, just pat on your back that hey, you're good.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Here's something about I've been doing coffee now since 2002. So I'm now
Okay.
20, almost 24 years in the field.
Okay.
As a latte, and here's something for you. I was a latte artist finalist in the 2004 um, latte art championships at Coffee Fest.
Oh, okay.
Right, I was a finalist. But if you saw the picture of the latte art that I put in there, God, you'd be like, that is just pathetic. It's pathetic because it really was because it really sucked. Like it sucked. Like even by today, especially by today, even by then, it was terrible. The only reason I got to be a finalist because there was only like six of us that entered. So six finalists, six competitors, you get to be a finalist. So it's a great way to go. But if you're doing the hardest part, I think, with latte art, right, is the practice, right? And you're like you're saying, so let's say we're trying to pour and take this with a grain of salt. I'm no Emily Bryant, right?
Okay.
But what I see when I'm trying to teach new baristas about their pouring is there's so much going on, right? The part of it's like you want to tilt the cup this way
Yeah.
and you're holding your milk. I'm
Yeah.
not going to hold it this way because it's
Yeah.
usually too hot, but you're holding it this way.
Yep.
And it's the rate of pour that you're doing. Because now, if you've done it well, you've got this milk that has a level of foam. But because you've swirled it in a way and you swirl it this way and tap out all the bubbles, it's suspended. It's a homogenization.
Yep.
It's an emulsification of the foam in the milk. You have to maintain that and you have to maintain the pour of it. So a lot of times people are kind of when they start out, they're a little bit timid. They'll hold it first of all like this, and then they're timid in the pouring. So when you're timid in your pouring, because the milk and foam is in a constant state of flux, meaning that even though you've emulsified it
Yep.
together, the foam is always floating to the top constantly. You're always battling that. And so if you pour timidly, what you end up doing is you end up inadvertently using the spout as a dam because it's holding the foam back and the milk is flowing under the foam out the spout into here. So you're now just pouring mostly milk and not enough of
Yep.
that foam. And so you have to pour a little bit harder. And I like to tilt it so that it's kind of easier. The way that it
Hmm.
flows into it is smoother. And if you can, it's really about practicing that balance of the pour.
Sure. Yep. That's it.
And then eventually, once you get a little bit, you have to go around. I don't know why we go around. That I just do that myself, and that helps to like mix it in more. And then
Yep.
finally, you get to this point where you have to pour a little bit harder, so you get the foam to come out and create whatever you want. Now, I know a lot of people see Rosettas, and they're always like, I want to do this. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Just do this. Learn how to do this, pour.
Yes.
And then once you start to see it, so pour and then maybe go around a little bit to get the mix. And then once you start to see and pour in the center, after you go around, pour in the center. And once you start to see like a circle form, then tilt back, continue your pouring, and the volume will increase, the circle will increase. And then once you finally get to the almost the very end, push forward like this, straight off the cup. Just let the milk fly off
Mhm.
the cup. Don't worry about the mess. You can wipe that later. And what that will do, if you're able to get it correct, you got this circle, right? And it will that stream by pushing it forward off the cup, it'll pull that circle down like this and extend the circle like that, so you get a heart. And this is the technique that I would teach our baristas because it was really the only one that I could do relatively consistently, but it's also relatively easy and it has great impact. Like if you serve that to your average guest,
Oh, they're gonna love it.
oh my God, that's amazing. Like how many people that were like, that's amazing. It's like, it ain't no big thing. It ain't no big thing, but it's amazing. People love it. And that's really kind of like a great way to go. And then once you master that, then you can figure out how to do the Rosetta because that's a little bit different. You come around and then you go to the front and then you swirl it back and then you push forward and then you could do dragons and swans and all that stuff if you're like Emily and very good at it.
You know what? I think and getting good at latte art is just like getting good at what's that called? You know, the throwing the balls around. What's that called?
Oh, juggling, juggling.
Juggling. Yeah, same
Yes,
as
yes,
juggling. Okay, similar as juggling, right? Because I bet you can do one up and down, but once you get two or three, it does takes time.
yes,
I mean,
yes,
I mean, think of as latte art as like juggling. Okay, sooner or later you're gonna feel it. Okay, you are going to
yes,
feel the milk. You are going to just feel. I mean, you're just there,
yes.
but it's
Absolutely, absolutely.
and it does takes a long time to get feel of it, right? You know, I mean, just like cooking. Yeah, same as cooking too. Someone good at cooking, someone doesn't,
Yeah,
and
it's just a
someone,
matter of doing it.
yeah,
You just got to do. And there will be a lot of times when whether it's cooking like you're saying, or juggling, or coffee making, you're going to have dismal failure. Dismal
yeah,
failure. You'll be like, God, this sucks. Like
yeah.
God, I'm like that in YouTube. I look at some of the YouTube videos that I release, and it's like 12 views. Like, oh, dismal failure, dismal. But you got to keep going and making more of coffees so that you can improve, right? It's always about constant, and it's not just about rote doing it, but try to think about like, okay, well, I didn't like this. What could I have improved? And then, just by doing that, I think it will help improve your technique and the results that you get.
But again, I mean, I think a lot of people get discouraged by failure and
Sure.
stuff.
Absolutely. It's very discouraging.
But but I mean, you just gotta do it, right? You just got. I mean, even if it's something you like, just doing it. I mean, it's okay to not having a good latte art, but if that is your goal, you just gotta suck it up, practice every single day. So I mean, I imagine what a couple of years, I think you're gonna get good at it. Unless if you do two, three a day. If
Yeah,
you do
I mean,
three a day, I bet you the three a day, you're gonna get good feel for it.
yes.
Three.
And here's the thing that I think that I encourage people to think about is like you okay, let me rewind a little. So as far as developing your technique, what I encourage people to do is go out and buy cheap coffee.
Yep.
Go to Costco, buy like a 3 pound bag of coffee, and
Mhm.
just sit there. If you really want to do this, sit there and just make shot after shot after shot,
Yep.
just looking at the technique of the brew, not necessarily the
Yes.
flavor of the coffee, because you may not like that.
Mhm.
But that will help to improve your technique. And then also the other side of it is try not to sweat it, right? Like, even though I'm been a working professional,
Mhm.
I have had far more bad shots than good shots. Well, probably not. But what I'm saying is that, let's say like this coffee, right? This is the Kateri Double A from Bard Coffee
Mhm.
in Portland, Maine. If you have a nice supplier of coffee that's buying quality coffee and selling quality coffee, and you're buying it and using it at home, you're already so far ahead of it. Like, your position is so far ahead that, you know what? Yeah, maybe that shot that you pulled is not perfect. Maybe it's not what you would like to have. But I tell you what, that shot that you pulled is still much better than most of what people are serving in their homes, a grand majority of what cafes are serving around the world. So try not to sweat it too much, because tomorrow you
Yeah.
can always make more shots and
Yep,
improve.
exactly, yeah. I mean, if you got a fair shot today, wait till tomorrow and do it again.
Yeah.
But so you know what, Jay? The funny thing is, over the years, whenever I go to coffee shop, I watch carefully how
Okay.
barista's doing. So many times, like 8 out of 10 times, I can see shots are too fast. Okay, shots are way too fast, and then I wonder how many people they actually realize, their shot of espresso is not that good. And
Well, it's important. I think that's a great thing to talk about, because when I was younger in the business,
mhm,
here's my theory: is that when you're young in a pursuit, like you're just starting out, you're absorbing as much as you can, you're learning, but you get to a point where you learn a modicum of knowledge,
mhm,
and then you wield that like a weapon, right? Like, I remember when I was younger, and like pretty much all of my peers, James was like this, everybody was like this. We would go to shops and be like I would go to Starbucks and like order a cortado and then watch them and be like, well, that's not how you make a cortado. These guys
mhm,
suck. They don't know anything, right? Which is typical. That's just you learn a little bit, so you feel like you want to wield
yeah,
it like a weapon. But I think now that I'm the older curmudgeon in the business,
mhm,
I do think that it's, I will go to coffee shops. I no longer watch because you know what? I'm not there. You know, really, I'm not there to like. I'm there to have coffee. I'm there. I'm actually there to try to now enjoy whatever they're providing.
Okay.
I want to experience what they provide, whatever it is. Maybe their coffee does suck. Maybe
Oh,
they
yeah.
buy shitty coffee. Maybe they don't train their staff. But I'm still here to just to see what they do. Uh, and of course now I do realize that I'm coming from a perspective where I have run my own cafes,
Mhm.
trained my own baristas, and have pushed the limits as much as we could. So I, do, I don't necessarily need to have that as a consumer. But I do think that, one thing when you go to places, just try to be a little bit more
Okay.
accommodating. Because, I think you'll enjoy it more. Like maybe you won't like the coffee. I mean, I don't like the
Jay,
coffee
so
half the time.
okay, so when you're running a coffee shop, right?
Hmm.
And there's some customer, they order espresso. So come up and then your
Those are the ones that
customer,
scare me the most.
okay, and then okay, exactly. They order espresso and and they tried it. It's bad. Okay. It's over extracted. So they come to you, hey Jay, I'm sorry to bother you, but this shot is way over extracted. Can you make me a new one?
Get out.
You're gonna say, get out of what?
No, no. I mean, if you came to Spro when we still had retail
Uh,
shops, and you came and you had an espresso. Forget the espresso. You had any coffee, any beverage,
yeah,
any food.
yeah.
Here's my number one rule for my staff. Right, I
Okay.
would tell them this is our standards. This is our rules. We have all of this
Yes.
codification of what we do. But here's the number one thing that I wanted my staff to take
Okay.
with them was that what we want our guests to leave every time feeling stoked that they were
Yep.
here today. And I told them, we have all these rules, but whatever it takes to achieve that, you have carte blanche to do.
Yep.
Because it was. I remember one time we had a one year. I had one of my staffers. This girl. She was working
Mhm.
alone at one of our cafes, and we used to serve this powerhouse sandwich, which
Okay.
was like Munster cheese with tomatoes,
Mhm.
power sprouts on a multi-grain bread that was really dry. Like it was a really dry sandwich. It's like 650. So this woman came in, bought it, ate almost the entirety of it,
Oh
and then
goodness.
wanted to complain to her and get a refund. And she denied that person that refund. And the woman got mad and said she was going to call the owner. So this girl called me and she's like, "Hey, this is what happened." And I said, "Hey, no worries. I'll take care of it. If she calls, I'll take care of it." And then when I saw her again, I told her, here's the thing. I appreciate the fact that you're concerned about our bottom line. And I'm not second guessing
Mhm.
anything about what you did because you were there in the moment. You had to make that decision. And my belief as the owner is that I hired you for a reason. I
Yep.
hired you for your ability to judge the situation and do what was necessary. I will back my staff up, whatever they do, unless they do something really heinous. But as long as they've conformed to like what we're trying to achieve, I will go toe. I went toe to toe with like the city of Baltimore's food critic for the Baltimore Sun once
Mhm.
because of this. But and I said to her, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to save the money, but I said to her, should this happen again, it's a question of like what do you think is important? Like, will will losing 650 gain us anything or lose us more? Right. Like I was talking to someone recently that's in the ice cream business, and she was like, I have this person because I do consulting for other businesses,
Mhm.
and she was like, I have this customer that comes in, and he always wants to order a kitty cone, he's adult, and I was
Okay.
like, and so of course like her kitty cone is maybe like 350, her regular cone is like
Oh,
550,
yeah. Yep.
and I was like, and she's like, what should I do about it? I said, what do you
Yeah.
want to do about it? What does it matter? What does it matter? This guy comes in, orders a kitty cone, buys it. I said to her that maybe the thing to think about is he buys the kitty cone because maybe he wants to be cheap. Maybe he doesn't want to eat a lot. Whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, is the product good enough that he eats it, he likes it, and he comes back? Will he come back multiple times? Will he come back with his friends? Will he come back with his family? That's the money you're playing for, not this differential between what he's buying, right? We're looking at the longevity
Yeah.
of your relationship with him. And so like when people come in, they say, "Hey, I didn't enjoy this drink." Replace it. give them
Okay,
something
so
else.
okay,
What do they
so
want?
for
Like I
your
have one
coffee
customer.
shop,
Mhm,
if I come to you over extract, you're gonna make me a new one.
absolutely.
Oh, good. Okay.
Or kick
But
you out.
I
Depend.
yeah,
If you came in with the what is that called? If you came with the refractometer, I'd kick you out.
sure. Refractor. Yeah. Do you have one, by the way?
I do. I do. I have one right here.
Which one? Which one do you have? You have the
I'm a
real one,
professional.
or
I have
you?
the VST, of course. What do you
Oh, you
think?
got the VST one.
Is it here?
Man,
Where is it? I saw it. Well, maybe I don't have it right here, but I saw it recently
yeah.
somewhere. I never use it. Like, to use it, it's actually really difficult. Like, if you wanted to do the proper protocol for truly understanding your TDS,
Uh-huh.
like, there's this whole process. Like, there's a whole white paper on it. And I'm just like, I don't care. Like, honestly, I don't care. Like, I know a lot of people will put a lot of emphasis, like, it must be 18 TDS, 19, whatever the TDS you choose.
Mhm.
I give a damn because you know why? My guest is not bringing a TDS meter with them. They're not drinking the coffee with a TDS meter. And if they did, I might kick them out. I always told my staff that if somebody walks in with the VST and starts to like gun our drink, I'm going to kick them out.
You know,
Just because
here's
I think it's
funny thing.
absurd. Correct. This is all that matters, right? Like if I have
Yeah,
a guest that comes in or someone that comes to my house and they drink a coffee and they like it,
that's
what
it,
does all
right?
that matter? I don't
Yeah.
care, right? So
Yeah, but I think the main thing is lately, if you watch Instagram Reels, I think Clive Coffee. Shout out
okay.
to Clive. And then Clive Coffee does the which tools bring up, increase your extraction level, the percentage. Okay. But obviously they're not gonna talk about the taste because taste is subjective.
Mhm.
But I think as coffee hobbyists, like people like us, we like to measure things, right? You know. So if you're using these tools, it's gonna be increased extraction level up.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean it's gonna be taste better. It's nothing to do with the taste and extraction level.
Yeah. And
Because
I'm a person that believes that coffee is what I call pleasurable hedonism,
yeah, yeah.
right? So it's all about the taste. I don't care about everything else. Like if it tastes great and you enjoy it, that's all that matters. But here's the thing: like I do as a coffee person, I do realize that this espresso that I like, which is
Yeah.
I think a lot of people consider old school. It's more of a full city roast. It
Mhm.
definitely is a blend of coffees that are meant to give me more chocolate, more body, a little bit of nuttiness on the finish, and some fruitiness, right? This I know does not appeal to a lot of more modern enthusiasts because they tend to trend towards brighter, lighter coffees, right? So we do make, at Spro, we do make other blends, but when it comes to my personal enjoyment, this is what I like.
But
So, and I think that your personal taste is very
mhm.
important. So whatever you like, as long as you like it, I don't have
Hey,
any trouble with that.
Jay, can you explain our viewers that I mean, it is very hard to find that espresso that memorable because I think a lot of my viewers out there they want a great espresso, every single time,
Yes. And so
but
here's
it's
the thing.
not. Yeah, go ahead.
In the 24 years that I've been in the business now, one of the greatest shots I ever had was early on in my career. I
Hmm.
was served to me by, and this is how good it is because I remember who makes it. Like Kyle Larson, who is a barista for Zoka Coffee, this company whose jacket I'm wearing
Hmm.
today. I was at a trade show in 2004 called NASCOR, the North American Specialty Coffee Retail Association, which is no longer in business. And it was in Portland, Oregon. And Bronwyn Stern, I just met Bronwyn and my mentor, John Sanders, and Bronwyn brought me to the Zoka booth to meet Kyle, and Kyle made me a macchiato, a little
Hmm.
piccolo like latte
Yeah.
macchiato,
Mhm.
and it was awesome, awesome. Like I was like, oh god, this is like amazing. That's then that same trip, I think it was. Oh no, this is 2003. It was 2003.
Yeah.
I met a guy who was starting his own coffee roastery, and he wanted to hang out. He's like, let's go check out the Stumptown on Third and Nash.
Hmm.
So we went downtown to the Stumptown there, and Stumptown at the time used to serve their coffees. They were press potted and served in air pots. So they give you a cup, you go to the air pot, you pump it in, and they had a Ethiopian Harar, a natural processed coffee. And up to this point, I'd heard about natural process and blueberry flavored coffees, and I was like, that sounds interesting, but sounds weird. Why would you
Okay.
have blueberry flavor in coffee? And I was someone that I come from a history of my father drinking Taster's Choice, which I hated. I hated coffee. I thought it was disgusting. I hated coffee ice cream. I had nothing to do with coffee until I started in the business. So I came from a very different perspective than my peers who loved coffee. But I remember we pumped out this coffee, and God, it was amazing. It was like a parent blueberry. I love natural processed coffees, and like I was like, God, it was like transcendental for me. Fast forward many years, and it's now maybe like 2014. I was in San Diego visiting with Nanelle Newbaum, who at the time, and Nanelle and Andy used to own a place in Santa Clara, California called Barefoot Coffee. They sold Barefoot off and then moved to San Diego, where Nanelle was the green buyer and head roaster for, I forgot the name of the coffee company, but they were down there. So I was hanging out with them one day, and Nanelle was giving me a tour of the facilities, and we went to one of the cafes where they had a slayer, and she spent all this time with the staff dialing that coffee in so well. Like, I mean, I had a shot, and it was, God, I was like, that was great. Like, it was one of the very best. At the time, it was the very best espresso I'd ever had. By this point, I had thousands of espresso. Fast forward now to 2023.
Uh-huh.
I'm in Bangkok, Thailand, and some of my people there were like, go to check out Wan Wan Coffee Roasters. I walk into Wan Wan. Turns out the owner of Wan Wan is a friend of mine from the coffee industry, Don Chan, who is actually the barista champion of Hong Kong, whose girlfriend is from Bangkok. So he moved to Bangkok and they opened a coffee roastery. And I was like, oh my God, man. So he made me an espresso. Now he did make it. Now this is where my role as someone that was a international coffee judge kind of colors the experience, right? Since I know him and we're friends, I had a very experienced then had I would if I was just a regular schmo off the street. Because he was like, I wanted you to try some of the coffees I'm thinking about for the World Championships, and I want to make it for you. I was like, oh, yeah. So I was like, fine, no problem. And he made me this coffee. He took the coffee. It was from Pepe Hihon, and he took it. He put it in his ikawa, roasted it fresh, and then he put it into a Flair 58 and made this espresso. And it became at the time the greatest espresso I'd ever had. So for me, who has tasted espresso worldwide, thousands of shots, maybe 4 times in 24 years, 5, maybe 6 at the most. 4, which I remember, the two other 2, which means that only 4 are memorable.
I mean that
So if you're
yeah.
looking for this amazing coffee experience and it's eluding you, that's okay. Don't sweat about it. Don't sweat.
But the funny thing, I mean, you told me about the story about the fresh roasted coffee was amazing. I mean that's something mind-boggling because you want the time to rest that coffee, right?
Well, yes and no. Like for example, like we did a test on my live stream one
Mhm.
couple years ago where so in coffee in accepted generally accepted coffee practices in the industry is that, let's say like today I'll roast this afternoon. We'll roast the coffee today. Tomorrow we'll do a QC cupping, quality control cupping, where we'll
Okay.
taste the coffees to make sure that they are within the parameters that we set
Mhm.
up for the coffees. Meaning that we're taking samples of every batch and then just cupping it tomorrow to see that. Now we do that within 24 hours normally because a lot of production places just don't have the time to cup right away. So they wait till the next day. And the theory is that the occlusion of the coffee flavor from the emanation of CO2 gases as a byproduct of the roasting process
Okay.
doesn't really take effect that heavily until after 24 hours. I
Oh.
wanted to test that, right? So what we did is we did this one test, and it's on the live stream. It's like
Mhm.
oh, maybe it's like 3 years ago now. We roasted a coffee at the old roastery, cupped it right after. Like I think I did the entire thing on the stream, cupped it, and then we talked about the coffee. The next day we cupped it again. We cupped it again every day for like a week to see the change. Because typically we talk about like 5 to 7 days
Mhm.
before the occlusion process has been exhausted and you can taste the coffee again. The difference between the flavor of the coffee straight out of the roaster and the next day was like, I was like, oh my God, this is like, we are totally like not doing this correct. If we really want to
Okay.
taste the flavor of the coffee, you got to taste it right out of the roaster because even 24 hours later or the next day, because the live stream starts at 10, and I think we roasted like it at 3, or no, maybe we did at 10, whatever the case may be. But that time period, we're already getting occlusion of the flavor. So you're not getting the full flavor of the
Ah,
next day. So yeah, if you roast, you roast and you brew immediately, that's fine. You know,
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
gonna do that next week because I do have a roaster here. So
Yeah, give that a try. See, and roast
yep,
enough so you can do it over several days and see
yep.
your because how I kind of came to this idea is that, I would go to Finca's Mirish when Eliane was still around, and we would do samplings, and she'd like, well, what do you want to try? And I was like, well, let's try this and this and this and this, and she'd have the boys roast it on the fly, and then we cup it, and I was kind of like, because I was thinking like you, like, don't we have to like let it rest at least a
Yeah.
day? And but no, it's actually better immediately or 7 days from now.
Okay. You know what? I definitely going to try it next week for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
give it a
for
try.
sure.
See what you think. See what I mean. I'd be because I told my friends in the business, and I asked them to try it out, but none of them ever have because it's be a lot of work to,
Sure. I mean, it
and
is
no,
a
and
lot of
nobody
work
wants to
for yeah.
change their processes.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of work for the pros, but people like me or you, we do have time in the morning. So, uh,
Absolutely.
so, so are you give up on opening up a retail coffee shop for now, Jay?
For now, I think for now, what I'm working on is making an education center so that people can
Okay.
come and learn about coffee. Mainly because there's just a lot of I think there's a lot of challenges with our economy and the way things are going. So retail environment is difficult. Plus, you know what I enjoy. Like I was thinking about this today because here in the East Coast we had some heavy snowfall this past weekend,
Mhm.
and what I kind of enjoy lately is that I no longer have to worry about opening a shop in the weather. Like my,
Yes.
my belief was my I was very strong in my belief in that I want to be open as
Mhm.
much as possible because I believe that a coffee shop is a respite for the public,
Yeah.
right? Like we would open like on Thanksgiving morning, not because mainly because I knew that people would have guests from out of town and maybe they just wanted to escape for like an hour to get away
Yep.
from all of that. So we would open until like 1 o'clock so that our regulars could get out of the house. And then I think we even did that for a while on Christmas Day for the same reason. So people could get out. And so when it came to inclement weather like snowfall, we tried to maintain our hours as much as we could because I know people wanted some people, and it would, financially, it's a disaster typically. Well, actually, Thanksgiving was always very good. A lot of times it wasn't very good for business from a financial standpoint because, not many people would come. But those that did always knew they had a place to go. And that was something that not having that pressure to do that is kind of nice.
So you've been selling your beans through your website lately, right?
That's correct.
You still doing the roasting. You do
That's
the
correct.
daily live streaming as well.
That's correct.
And then obviously you go places and travel.
No, I don't do that. I don't do the judging anymore.
That's
Um,
right. That's right. You quit,
yeah.
right?
No, they
You
kicked me
left.
out. They kicked me out.
Okay. By the way, if you're just joining us, I'm here with the Jay, and then also owns the owner coffee. Is the owner coffee roaster as well?
No, no, the company's called Spro
Spro. Yeah,
Coffee.
that's right. Yeah, Spro Coffee. And the
Sprocoffee.com.
yeah, owner coffee is your YouTube channel.
That is right. That is Ono Coffee is
Yeah.
the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and plus, how many years you've been judging for the world stage? How many years you've been doing that?
I mean, I started judging in well, my involvement with the World Barista Champion really started in 2005.
Okay,
Yeah, in Seattle in 2005, and continued through in various forms until 2023
that's
when
right. Yeah, a couple of years.
they
Yeah,
kicked me out
yeah,
at the end of 2023.
yeah. Because why? Because you're not
I'm not very
up to
good
the
at being
time,
no, I'm
up to
not
the
very good at
time.
I'm not very good at being a company man, right?
Yeah.
So here's what happened. Like, so a couple years ago, like 2022, I think it was. I was, I read a lot of forums and like coffee
Hmm.
for blogs and all that, and I forgot who it was, but somebody mentioned that there was a discussion about the World Championship,
Hmm.
and was the World Championship a fair competition? Was it level? And I said no.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is from a rules-based perspective, it is. I
Mhm.
do believe that anyone can win the championship. Anyone can win the championship if they understand how to exploit the rules. But I don't think that it's necessarily even or fair. Well, it's fair, but it's not. There's a disparity. That's what it is. There's a disparity because and those who've been up through it, I worked, I volunteered for the World Championships for many many years. I was one of the World
Mhm.
Coffee Events international representatives for 8 years. Which and in that role, what I was doing was that I was the person to go to each country or to different countries and sanction the events that they were having, and that covered all the six of the World Coffee Events Championship: the World Barista, Latte Art, Ibrick, Chesve, roasting, cup tasters, Brewers Cup. I judged them all. I oversaw them all. And the thing is, what I enjoyed the most about it was working with baristas from around the world because they were all super enthusiastic. I
Yep.
loved working with them, and the judges were super enthusiastic. So it's great to work with these people and help them on their journey. And one of the greatest things that I really enjoyed about it was if I was involved with a country over multiple years, I could see the progression of that country, right? Like Saudi Arabia was one that was really interesting because we started the whole program in Saudi Arabia, and I saw it from a very nascent scene with, new baristas and new judges, and then finally we got to a point 5 years, 6 years later where instead of having to bring in all of our head judges from international destinations, we had enough experience with these judges where we could name quite a few of them to be the head judges for their own teams. And I found that to be super exciting, super rewarding. And that would happen with baristas, working with them in different countries as well as the judges. But what caused them to kick me out, and this is my perspective of it, is that in this thread, it was on Instagram. I said, there's a disparity that happens in the
Mhm.
competition because what I see worldwide, this is true in America, this is true anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
is that the people that tend to win tend to be the best capitalized, the ones with the greatest amount of resources, right? Because they've got more money behind them, they can buy the highest quality coffees, they can um, they got so much more resources available to them. Everything about this is exponentially easier for them. And I gave the example at the time because at the time the U.S. champion was Andrea Allen from um, a
Onyx.
place in yes,
Is it
thank you,
Onyx? Yeah,
yeah,
Onyx.
Onyx,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she was the
Andre.
current U.S. champion at the time. And I said, well, someone like Andrea Allen has greater resources available to her because she's the owner of her company. They
Yeah.
do very well. They get very high quality coffees, and they can have practice sessions for themselves, right? And and I made this comment, and I mean, it wasn't meant to be pejorative to Andrea. It was just that's just how it is. And she was the current champion at the time. Evidently, they got upset. Lance Hedrick joined the conversation and was making some arguments because I guess he was her trainer or something like that. And
Oh, yeah.
he was like, we don't really have that kind of advantage because, we just have this spare room at our roastery and we've got this extra leftover Black Eagle Nova Seminelli machine or Victoria Arduino machine that is a three group that has a broken group head. Honestly, I didn't know how to respond to that post. He since deleted them after that, but I was like, I don't know if I don't. I think my response to him at the time was, I don't know if that proves your point because I'm thinking about the average workaday barista that's dreaming of trying to win the barista champion. All competitors that I work with, they all dream of winning, right? Even the champions that I name in a country dream of winning the world championships. And I'll be honest with you, after years of working with this and doing this, I would sit with a barista champion from a certain country who had just won their national championship and they wanted to win the world. I already knew then they would never win
You know what? But
because
thing
they
is,
just don't have that skill level
sure.
yet.
I
And
think
so,
hold on. Only way to fix that is just like a prelim style, right? Prelim. Because during the prelim, they give you the beans. So take out the advantage of buying a wonderful
no,
beans
no, I
from.
mean, I don't know if that's necessary. I mean, I'm not in favor of that. And
No, you're
I
not.
see, I know why people say that, but to me, it's really like Like here's what I'm leading up to. Like
Mhm,
someone like Andrea, who has
mhm,
this spare room with a machine and all this coffee available to them to use at their leisure. If I compare that to the average barista that wants to
sure.
compete, they probably
Jay, hold on. Jay, can you hear me? Jay,
going to have to practice
okay.
after hours, so they'll work. What did we
Jay,
lose it?
Jay, hold on. Jay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just don't know what happened.
Okay, so you might want to swap your YouTube out and go back in again. Swap it, move up, and then just go back in. There we go. Are you
Oh,
back?
I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. Somebody. It looks like
Good.
somebody tried to call and like
Yeah, I
it
mean
might have
that. Yeah,
died.
that happens a lot. Anyway,
Okay.
so let's go back to your argument about your thing about some roasters has that all the access, right?
Well, yeah. So,
That
so
they
for
do.
example,
Yeah.
like I was saying, the average workaday barista that wants to compete from an average cafe does not will have to like work their shift, come after the shop closes,
Hmm.
and then practice. And so that's typically at night. And if they work that whole day or at some point of the day, they're already tired. They're already behind. They're not able to afford barista coaches to come and train them. Like if you were to contract with like Federico Bolaños, who's a great
Hmm.
competition coach, he's not cheap, right? Probably going
You
to
have to
cost you
pay.
thousands of dollars, right?
Sure,
To do.
thousand. Yeah.
So you're and you don't have training, you don't have a coach. You're trying to read the direction or the rules to try to understand what to do. You may be watching videos to try to figure it out. You may talk to
Hmm.
some other barista friends to try to understand it.
Hmm.
No one's going to break down the rules, the score sheet for you to understand what points are important to gain versus others. And you don't need to obsess about this because here's the
Hmm.
reality. Like we have a 6 point scale for
Yep.
scoring. And you think that, oh, the champion must have like sixes and fives for their
Hmm.
espresso. God, most of them have threes and fours,
Sure.
right? Because it's never that great.
Yep.
So there's so many opportunities for you to exploit the score sheet, but nobody can train. No, they don't have the resources to get me trained in that way. So this is why I think that when I look at the champions of every country or the majority of countries that I've worked in, they're usually from well capitalized companies.
Sure. I mean, that's the fact. But how can you fix that then, right? So we recognize the problem. So I mean, did you recommend any solution for the organization by
I mean,
chance or?
here's the thing. I do believe that anyone can win. Like I really
Yeah.
believe that if you understand the rules and you
Hmm.
can exploit the score sheets, you can win. Because right now, everybody thinks it's always about money, and it is to a certain extent about some money, right? But let's say you get one person that wins, and they bought from Pepe, and like everybody needs to buy from Pepe now. Somebody wins with a geisha, everybody needs to buy geisha now. I really believe that if you came with a red bourbon from El Salvador, typical wash red
Hmm.
bourbon, and you could explain it in a way, like here's part of the
Yep.
criteria, right? You
Hmm.
take you're serving your espresso to a judge. You're serving four of them to four separate judges.
Hmm.
Those judges are going to taste the coffee and score based on the experience they have with it. Part of that score is based on what you tell them. If you can describe their experience accurately, your scores can be higher. That's
Yep.
really a big part of the game, which is why a lot of them tend to be threes and fours because they're not describing it as
Hmm.
accurately as we would expect them to. So I don't think you need to be heavily capitalized to win. It just the heavy capitalization just gives you more advantage, right? And it's kind of like the whole like Yankees win the World Series thing. They just spend so much more money, they can buy better talent. And if you can afford to pay people like Federico Bolaños to come and train you, that's going to give you a tremendous advantage because Federico has a lot of experience training baristas, understanding the rules, learning how to exploit them, and giving you technique training to work it a lot better than someone that's just trying to figure it out after work in the evenings, with a limited amount of coffee and a limited amount of milk to play with and practice with.
Yeah, but in reality, okay, in US, let's talk about US since we
Okay,
are living in United States. Do we care about my barista is a world barista champion?
no. I mean, I'm going to tell you this because as someone that has been heavily
Mhm,
invested in the competitions, both as a competitor
mhm,
and as a judge, as well as a volunteer through them all, because I've worked in all the different facets
mhm,
of the competitions. As a barista coffee shop operator, the importance of the championships is very, very low. Has
yeah,
been very, very low on my totem pole. I have campaign baristas into
mhm,
championships because they were interested and they wanted to do it.
mhm,
I never encouraged anyone and I never pushed on anyone to do it because it's just not it's not what our battle is. Like at Spro, what our battle
mhm.
is with the guest, right? And one of the things I thought as someone that's in the competitions, what I as a competitor, one of my things was always like, if we're going to have a signature drink, I want it to be something that we can execute on
That's
the bar
right.
by any barista. Because to me, the signature drink is the one that I think captures the imagination the most.
Mhm.
And my fellow competitors, especially in the older era, they were very much down on the signature drink thing. They're like, "Oh, signature drink," and I said, "Well, that's the one that everybody's interested in.
That's right.
We're coffee geeks, so of course
Yep,
the pristine character of the espresso is what's important to us. But for the average person that walks in the door,
yep,
that crazy concoction for your signature drink is what's interesting." And nobody served their drinks in their cafe environment, which I really hated that. I was like, you have to serve it. Otherwise, if you can make it once for four people, so what?
yep.
And you make it daily on a bar setting under pressure. That's the badasses that I want to see, right? That to me is what's important there. Because to me, it's all about the guest experience, right? How do we how do we make something exciting for the average person walking in our door?
And so another thing is for the reality of a specialty coffee shop, unless you are a world-renowned shop, I mean, you make money from mostly the pastry and some food, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
I
you
mean,
don't
like
make money. Yeah,
you're making your money off of like, I mean, I think in any business you make your money off the most mundane stuff, right?
yeah.
The brewed coffee, the latte, the mocha, the croissant. Yeah, the more you
Croissant.
can
Yeah,
sell of
yeah,
those, the
yeah,
better.
yeah. Croissant.
Somebody will tell you elephant ears will make you $1 million. They're crazy.
Sure.
I don't know about those guys, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's always the mundane stuff. Like you don't really like you get the geisha, and that's nice because you offer that for the people that really like it.
sure.
But not many people are going to buy the $15 coffee.
No, I mean, 50, I think the problem with our coffee culture is it's become commodity, right? I mean, we don't mind spending, $30 per glass of wine, but we have a hard time spending, $15 for beautiful geisha. So,
Well, I think that's because I don't think that honestly I don't think operators have enough balls. Right, you
okay.
gotta have balls to like when I started. I remember when we were starting the flagship store in Baltimore
Hmm.
City in 2010. I got a coffee from Ida. The Ida
Okay.
Barrios Reserve from Salvador.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ida, yeah.
It was roasted by Counterculture because back then we I had other
Hmm.
roasters for us, and I got this very high priced reserve coffee, and I put it on our daily menu at $15 a cup, and people went bananas. Like they were just they were not bananas in a good way, but bonkers in like, who the hell do you think you are? Like consumers, who do you think you are selling $15 coffee? I had coffee professionals telling me, who do you think you are selling this coffee for 15 bucks? And people got mad. Like people got mad, but you got to have the balls to give respect to like your product. And you know what? Like, do you buy Louis? Does Louis Vuitton get the respect for their canvas bags because it's a canvas bag, or because they charge a ton of money for it
That's it.
and they have that exclusivity, right? So
Yeah,
it can be like that. But but I do believe there has to be quality to it, and I thought the Ida's Reserve was
sure.
amazing coffee.
Speaking of it, are you into watches, timepiece?
A little bit. I don't have enough money to be into watches that
Okay.
I would
So,
yeah,
so,
Audemars
so,
Piaget I can't afford.
so have you heard about the Richard Milles, the watch?
Oh yeah.
Richard Milles, RM.
Yes, yes.
So
I've heard
there's
about them. I don't know much about them.
okay. So that cost for like $300,000-$400,000
Okay.
for the watch. Is an urban legend. Is a the originally they weren't planning on selling for $15,000. Someone made a mistake, printed mistake. Instead of 15 grand, 150,000. Guess what? People buy it just like that.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely a
That's
market there for that kind of thing.
I mean, there's most expensive. I mean, just like geisha just got auctioned up, Panama geisha.
Oh,
Six,
recently or last year?
yeah, oh no, this year, $600,000 this time around, 20 kilo.
Oh, was that
Yeah, from Dubai.
oh, from Dubai?
Uh,
No, that's somebody
yeah,
else. Okay, okay.
yeah. So this coffee shop or coffee roaster, yeah, he spent 20 kilo for 600 grand because because they can. That's it.
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, you told me that years ago when they started the Cup of Excellence, it wasn't that much back then, wasn't it?
No, so actually, the geisha was not originally the cup of excellence. So we
Okay.
in 2020, in 2005
Okay.
was when geisha first came really to the spotlight.
Okay.
My mentor was part of a buying group
Hmm.
that bought the first batch of Panama Esmeralda,
Okay.
Hacienda
Yeah.
Esmeralda, the Panama, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And at the time, people lost their minds. It was crazy price. Like it was the most expensive coffee ever purchased,
How much was it?
like 21.75.
21 $21
Yeah, and we
for
were like, "Holy God, that's crazy! Who's gonna?" And I remember I got a bag of it. Right, he gave me a bag of that first batch, and it was good. But actually, was it good? Yes, it was different. It was
yeah,
hyper
different, right?
different.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because this is what we had. We had like natural process Salvadors and Nicaraguans and things like I mean, wash process Salvadors and Nicaraguans, Guatemalans. Right? That was what we had. Here's this coffee, this strange coffee from Panama that's very light, that's very tea, black tea oriented kind of flavors, and it was so different. People were like, "It's amazing, it's good." Right? But one of my good friends who's in Thailand, I remember one time I said, "Have you tried the geisha?" He's like, "Yeah, man. If I want black tea, I'll drink black tea." I was like,
Yeah.
"Fair, fair." So, but it was very. So that's how geisha started. It was like I think it was 2150 or 2175.
By the way, so Panama is that hacienda
Esmeralda.
as is a farm or I mean that's
Yes, yes. So Price Peterson, his family, I don't know the exact history. Somewhere they emigrated from somehow at some
mhm,
point in their generations to Panama,
mhm,
and they have a farm called Hacienda Esmeralda. And
that's
they were
right.
the ones that really, I don't know if they cultivated it, but they got it and they started growing it and they put it up for, they were the ones that put it to auction first, which is why the Petersons are kind of celebrated in Panama because they were the ones that really blew it up. They made it into like this worldwide phenomenon.
I mean, is that a big farm? So
I
they
don't know.
do
I've actually never been to Panama yet, so
okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I've not been there,
It'd be
and I don't
fascinating
know
to
them
be
personally. I just know
okay
who they
of
are.
them. So that set the bar pretty high.
Yes, yes, and everybody after that just became. And there is some very tangible differences. Like I remember one year, I was in Costa Rica
Mhm.
at Cafeteria Urbazoo, which is one of the farmers we used to work with, and at the time. He was growing some geisha, and as you walk around the field, it's harvest time. The cherries are ripe and red. You'll like one of the things you like to do is you'll pick the cherries
Yep.
and you'll press them and then pop the bean with the mucilage
Yeah,
into your
yep.
mouth and you'll taste it.
Is that
And
good?
so lychee fruit,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
at least the one at Cafeteria Herba Zoo that year tasted like lychee, which I love.
Wow.
So I was totally
Yeah.
like, I was like, oh,
So
so I
you
was
have to
like
you have
eating them
to eat
left and right.
yeah, but you
And
have to
I'm
eat
one of
a
these. I'm
lot,
one of the
right?
bad people. I'm really a bad person
Uh-huh.
because I'm eating it. And
Mhm.
there's a little bit of mucilage.
Uh-huh.
And once you process it in your mouth and you
Uh-huh.
remove the mucilage, most people just spit it out.
Yeah.
I'm pocketing it to try to grow at home.
Sure.
So I actually have I have a geisha tree growing here at the house.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't bear fruit. It's really a sad state. I just pruned it back after last summer to see if it'll get better.
Oh wow, that's if can you actually buy the tree, the coffee tree,
You mean like
geisha tree?
from a nursery here in
Yeah,
America? I don't
yeah,
know.
can you
There must
actually
be
grow?
somebody. I never looked into it. I
Can
only
you
did that
grow
because
it?
you can. You have to control it because it's a tropical. It won't survive the winter.
Okay,
So I have to keep it in the house in the sun. In the summers, I'll put it outside, even though it's too hot here for like coffee really grows best. I mean, especially coffee grows best like at 900 to
okay,
2,200 meters,
okay.
right? Which Maryland is nowhere near. Like we're like
That's right.
300 feet
Yeah.
where I live, so it's like, but um, it'll live.
Okay. Yeah.
It
I
doesn't
got you.
do well. Like it's not like it's producing fruit. It's like a
Yeah, man. You know what? I'd be even very interesting to actually grow something here. But I know Santa Barbara does, right? The French, and they do have a coffee roaster. Have you been to Santa Barbara? Coffee grower over there?
I have not. I have not.
French. Yeah.
Fringe. Okay.
So yeah, they do geisha over there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they do geisha. I mean, I got some coffee beans a couple years back. Yeah, it's is it good as a Panama geisha? No,
Okay.
but the only reason they grow the high end stuff so they can at least break even. So it's no longer commodity because you Santa Barbara, right? All the labor cost is high. All the production cost is so high. So
Their
you
land
cannot
cost
sell.
has to be astronomical.
Sure, you say land cost, same thing, right? So you cannot sell for $10 per pound. You
Yeah.
have to grow geisha. Then a small container for $80. So,
Oh wow.
but I mean, that's the only way to survive.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I get it. I totally
I mean,
understand.
unless if you're selling for $600,000 for 20 kilo, like Panama.
Right, right. Well, but you gotta remember, like when you see those lots, I mean, they're majority of the geisha is not sold at that price point. Maybe it's sold at like $28 a pound, somewhere right around there, 20 to 25 to 30 to 35, 40
Mhm.
maybe. It's the majority of those auction lots are like super, super small,
Yep.
right? As far as like the quantity produced in the country per year. So it's not while that is a nice windfall for the producer, I mean, it's not like that's they're not making crazy, crazy amounts of money
Yeah,
normally.
that's true. I mean, that's kind of like one off. So, yeah, it's not
Now,
like
don't
I
get me
bet
wrong, a
they,
lot of the
yeah.
producers that you see, they probably are part of the 1% of their country, right?
Hmm.
Like that's one of the things that I always had a not an issue with, but like it always kind of in the coffee business, we have this notion of like helping the farmer. We see a lot
Yeah.
of roasters, maybe not so much now, but especially before, a lot of talk about we're helping the farmer. The more that I spent time at Origin, the less that I thought that was true, right? Like that's a nice message, but and I certainly the farms the producers that I work with, they have lovely farms, and their staff, the people that work at the farms, seem very well cared for. They seem very happy.
Mhm.
But I always thought that in America, when we talk about helping the farmer, I feel like the implication is that we're doing generational change, meaning that the idea here in America is that we want our children to have better futures than ourselves,
Yep.
right? So they don't have to live the lives we live. So
Hmm.
they're moving up. So to me, that messaging, that's part of the messaging, which means that these poor farmers won't have to do this for their
Hmm.
kids, which is not the case. They have greater benefit. And I've seen progressive change, favorable change for them, the average farm worker. But are we talking that generational change that we imply with American standards? No, I don't think so. And you see all these people talk about coffee quality, and what I've found is that if your goal is quality coffee consistently year to year,
Hmm.
not many of the campesino farmers are able to do that. Right? Like
Yes.
I've worked
Yep.
with. We were on a project once in Guerrero, Mexico,
Hmm.
in the Cordilleras of Guerrero, along the lands of La Michoacana,
Mhm.
the cartel. And we're working with this, what they call a grupo de trabajo, which is a working group of disparate farmers on
Yep.
this mountain. And I mean disparate because one of them had enough resources to own their own processing mill. The rest
Mhm.
didn't. One guy was so simple in his approach that he would pick his coffee. He did not have drying patios. He did not have raised beds. What he had were like volcanic rock exposed outcroppings that he would take the coffee and rake it by hand on it,
Wow.
right? So there's a and it's one of those things where like you have these Western buyers that come and they're like, okay, so we're going to give you let's say that at the time the going rate was maybe let's say 215 a pound,
Okay.
and let's say the coffees would be right about 82, 83 on a score
Okay.
sheet.
Score two.
You'd have these Western buyers that would come in and they're like, well, we want 85 coffee,
Mhm.
87 coffee, and we'll pay you the differential of let's say it was a good differential. Let's say we'll pay you 50 cents more per pound. So we'll pay you 265 a pound for this 85, 87 coffee. Sounds great, right? But these guys who are in some of these campesino farmers, how they work is that they'll get the coffee, they'll harvest it, and then a coyote will come by in a truck into the mountains. He'll come up from one of the towns by the coast in his truck, and let's say he'll give them now for their cherry. Let's say he gives them 90 cents a pound for the cherry.
Oh, wow.
Right? I don't know if that's true, but let's
Mm.
just say there's a differential. I'll give you 90 cents a pound for the coffee and the cherries. They buy the cherry from the guys and they truck it back down. And of course, forget all that other part, but they buy it that way.
Mhm.
Now you've got this person, this Western buyer that's like, hey, I'll give you 50 cents more over 215, but it's got to be 85 or not, or just 215 still. For that person who's normally just selling cherry, now he has to process it to get it to
Oh,
that point, which is like 2 or 3 months away. If they can even process it, they got to find a place to process it. Even if they did natural, they still got to dry mill it later. They will have to have waited all this time, put in this effort, and who knows what expense they may incur in that. For 2 to 3 months later, for the Western buyer to come back, score it at 84, and tell them deals off.
wow.
So and we're not talking about people that are capitalized, well educated, that are able to finance this kind of bankroll this kind of time. These are people that need to feed their children today, tomorrow. So the money the coyote gives them, they can use that to buy whatever they need for their
Mhm.
for their families or whatever, school, food, educate, whatever. They got to have it now. They don't have that kind of capitalization. Um, so that's one of the problems that I saw at Origin is like these Western buyers would come and they're like, if you want, and my thought was always like, if I want someone to do something for me, I'm going to carry that burden right away. And there are a number of like coffee buyers, coffee roasters that do this, right? Like I remember one year I was in the Philippines working with my producer there, and we were sitting around drinking coffee one day, and I said to her like, and we work with a lot of tribal farms
Mhm.
in the southern part of the Philippines, and they produce really nice quality coffee, beautiful stuff, some of the best I've ever had. But I said to her, "What do you do with the stuff? What do they do with the stuff that doesn't make it? Like, for the stuff that I'm buying? What do they do with the other stuff?" And she's like, "Well, they drink it, and they float it in the river and drink it." It's like, "What do you mean
Oh,
they float it in the river?" And they put it into like woven baskets.
uh-huh.
They put the coffee in the woven baskets. They put it in the river, and they let the river flow wash the coffee. And I was like, "What are you talking about? They put it in the river?" And she explained it, and I was like, how do we do that with our coffee, right? I was like, how do we do that? And she said, well, I said, we have to do this. And I was like, well, how much extra will it cost? And she told me, I forgot what it was, but she told me the price, the cost differential. I was like, I'll pay you that now
Mhm.
and guarantee the purchase of this coffee at this price. and you deliver it to me whether or not it turns out.
Mhm.
Right? So let's say we're hoping for 87 and it
Yeah.
turns out to be 82, I'm still buying the coffee. I'm committing to the coffee because I know that there's an extra burden on what they're
Mhm.
doing based on my request. So I'll carry that load because I can, right? Some buyers won't do that.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Anyway, hey, so Jay, so how people find you on your YouTube channel?
Oh, I'm on my channel is called Ono Coffee,
Ono
ONO
Coffee,
Coffee.
yep.
And
And then
I run a
you
company called
do
Spro Coffee in
yep,
Baltimore called SPROcoffee.com. And what else? I don't know what else. I'm
and
also Ono
then
Coffee 4 on
yep,
Instagram.
that's right. And
Yeah, yeah.
also live streaming daily. Are you still doing the daily?
Mostly daily. So normally we do
Okay.
a coffee Q&A called the Coffee
Yeah.
Q&A. Most weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern for roughly, it originally was going to be like 15, 20 minutes, and then now it's
Yep.
just like an hour,
Yeah,
sometimes.
just just like this, right? Just hanging out,
Yeah, no,
talk about coffee. So daily, just make sure to check out the Jay's YouTube channel daily, and
daily,
then
almost
daily,
daily.
almost daily. All right,
Some
Jay.
days we
Hey,
don't do it, but
but I'm gonna see you on San Diego, right?
I think so. I should. I mean, I haven't
O-
missed a show yet, so I should be
Okay,
there.
good. Hopefully, we're gonna get the media pass soon as well. Good.
Oh yes. Oh, I'm sure. I'm not worried. I'm not.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not worried about it.
Anyways, I'm gonna see you in what next? Yeah, couple of months. Not
Couple
even month
months.
and yeah.
Is it
Is no
two
wait,
months? 2 months.
February.
It'll be
Yeah,
two
yeah, two
months.
months. I'm gonna see
Yeah,
you about 2 months. All right, guy.
2 months, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 months.
2 months, 12 days.
Okay, Jay. I'm gonna see you then. I'm gonna see you on the web.
Thank you, Hoon. I appreciate it. Good to
Okay,
see all of
yeah.
you guys.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for big shout out to Jay. All right, guys. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. All right.
All right. Have a great one.
You too.